You know, we all love to travel, but how do we really talk about it? It's one thing to have an amazing adventure, but it's a whole other thing to tell the story afterwards. And the secret to making your travel stories sound natural and exciting, it's not about big, complicated words. It's about the small ones. Today, we're going to unlock the power of travel phrasal verbs. Let's start with a feeling I'm pretty sure we all know. That deep down need to just escape. Escape the daily grind, the stress, the noise. Well, that exact desire is perfectly captured by our very first phrasal verb, to get away. So here's the thing about getaway. It isn't just about going on vacation. It's all about the reason you're going. It's about escaping. So when you say you managed to get away for a week, what you're really saying is you successfully broke free from all your responsibilities for a little while. And doesn't that sound good? These little phrases are basically the secret to sounding like a total natural when you're talking about your adventures. But come on, just memorizing a long list of words is boring, right? So instead, we're going to learn them by following a story. So, to do that, let's follow one family's trip. We're going to be with them from the moment they walk out their front door to the moment they get back. And along the way, we'll pick up all the essential vocabulary that describes every single step of their journey. All right, so every trip has a beginning. This is that moment that's just buzzing with excitement and anticipation. It's the first real phase of the journey, the departure. You can just feel it, can't you? The car's all packed, everyone's in a great mood, and the whole adventure is about to kick off. The perfect phrasal verb for this exact moment is to set off. They are ready to set off on their adventure. Set off simply means to start a trip, but it has this great sense of purpose and action to it. You don't just go, you set off, which just sounds so much more adventurous. Think of it like the official starting pistol for your travels. Of course, you rarely just vanish into thin air. There are goodbyes to say, which brings us to another key moment in any trip. Here we see friends at the station waving them goodbye. They've come to see them off. So, see off is that specific act of going with someone to where they're leaving from. The airport, the train station, to say your final farewells before their trip really begins. It's such a nice, supportive thing to do, and it's all captured in that one little phrasal verb. Okay, so the family has officially left. Now they're in that classic, travel limbo. That part of the journey that happens between leaving and actually arriving at your destination. Okay, I gotta ask you something, because this one trips people up all the time. You're on a long flight, and you have to wait in an airport for a few hours before your next plane. Is that a layover or a stopover? They sound super similar, but they're actually pretty different.
In this slide shows the difference perfectly. So look at the left, a family waiting inside the airport for their next flight. That is a layover. Now look at the right. You're actually leaving the airport, exploring a city, maybe even staying the night. That's a stopover.
Let's break it down even more clearly. A layover is basically just waiting time for a connecting flight. A stopover, on the other hand, is an intentional, longer break where you actually stay in a place for a bit, like staying overnight in Dubai on your way to Australia. So here's the bottom line. A layover is waiting. A stopover is a mini trip within a trip. Okay, our family made it through all the travel stuff. They've arrived. And this is where the real magic happens. The exploring, the happy accidents, the unexpected discoveries. So, just picture this. They're wandering through a brand new city, no particular plan in mind. They turn a corner, and boom, there it is, the most perfect, charming little cafe. They didn't look it up on their phone. They just found it by chance. They came across it. Come across is just a fantastic phrasal verb for these kinds of moments. It means finding something or even meeting someone completely by chance. It's the total opposite of planning. It's pure, spontaneous discovery. Now, here's a little pro tip. While you can come across a person, we have an even better phrasal verb that we use specifically for people. If you're exploring a new city and you suddenly see an old friend from back home, well, you wouldn't just say you met them. You'd say you bumped into them. It just perfectly captures that feeling of total surprise and coincidence. Well, all good things have to come to an end, don't they? The family has had their adventure, and now it's time to head home. But as we all know, the journey back can have a little drama of its own. And there it is, the classic traveler's nightmare. They're on their way to the airport, but they aren't moving an inch. They're totally stuck. They've been held up by a massive traffic jam. Oh, you can just feel the stress looking at this picture, can't you? So held up is the perfect phrasal verb for being delayed by something that's completely out of your control.
You can be held up by traffic, by bad weather, by a super long line. It's that frustrating feeling of being stuck when you absolutely need to be moving.
But they made it. The drama is over. And this right here, this is that moment of pure, sweet relief. The wheels of the plane make contact with the runway back in their home city. The plane begins to touch down.
Touchdown is the specific term we use for an airplane landing, and it's just so much more descriptive and evocative than just saying it landed. It refers to that precise moment the plane makes contact with the ground, signaling that the flight is officially over.
And there you have it. We've followed our family's entire story. They felt the need to get away and decided to set off. Their friends came to see them off. They navigated a brief layover, definitely not a stopover. While exploring, they came across a great cafe and even bumped into an old friend. And even though they got held up in traffic, they finally made it home when their plane touched down. That's a whole trip, told through the power of phrasal verbs.
So what's the big takeaway here? These words aren't just vocabulary on a list. They're storytelling tools. They add color, emotion, and rich detail to your adventures. So really, the only question left is, where will you go next? And what stories are you going to tell?